Today is Tuesday morning. This bit is about a buy I just went on. Thought I would just leave it in the trunk, come in and get my mic and record. I just saw on Facebook Marketplace a ad for these. I'll show you. Primitive or antique handmade ladles. It was all three of these. I got a buddy who likes these, but I'm not sure if he's going to want them. But I bought them because they were $5. And when I find these in the thrift, I pay, they're a little bit of weight. I pay a little bit of money for them because they're heavy. But $5 for all three of these is a pretty crazy deal, realistically. And I was kind of surprised. I thought I would get there and they'd say, "Oh, I meant for it to say 50 or whatever." But they didn't. $5. They were just trying to get rid of stuff. They almost didn't even seem like they cared about them at all. So I went, paid $5, and the gal that was selling them said, "I brought these other things if you're interested. It's brass also." She was asking me, "Are you going to scrap it or something?" I was like, "No. I got a buddy that likes them, this or that, and I'm just going to resell them." And she said, "Well, do you want these?" I don't know anything. I didn't know anything about these cups. They are from something called Rome Revere, excuse me. I paid $5 for this little bundle. And then I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll take them," just thinking, not thinking she was going to charge much because she only charged $5 for that. So she said, "Okay, how about $5? So I got home, opened up the trunk, looked at them, looked at the name, looked them up. There's a set of these listed right now for $250 on eBay. Now, I'm not saying that's what I'm going to get for them, but if I get anything above $5, generally speaking, when I go out and buy something, I'd like to double my money. That's kind of like rule of thumb. And for these guys, I think I'm going to cut that $250 in half. I'll list them for $125 and see what happens. I paid $5 for them. I don't think I can go wrong, really. And then these guys, I'm going to try for between $25 and $45 each for these guys. And like I said, I paid $5. So there's a lot of room for margin there. These guys are very handmade looking and very old looking. Like the keyword will probably be primitive, antique, that sort of thing. And they are cool. They just have the look, Someone put little leather straps on there. I'll probably pull off just so that it has its, there's nothing like taken away from the look that it has going on. There's no names on these, and you can just tell that they're handmade. Even this pot has the look of being handmade and having been used and old and cool looking. This is the primitive look that a lot of people are going for. There's people that like this kind of stuff because they, maybe they have like a moonshine still or something like that, and this kind of stuff adds to the look of having that sort of display going. These kind of buys, I look at them like a scratch-off lottery ticket. When it's this cheap, I just figure it's a $5 scratch-off. I'll pay $5. I'll learn a little something along the way, and maybe I'll hit big. These guys, I already know that they're good. I just don't know to what degree. It's the kind of thing where you just run across. You just kind of put it out there and hope that you run across the right buyer. Maybe they don't have one this sort of length, and they, want to buy it and hang it with the others or whatever, or they don't have one that has this sort of build. And they don't have this sort of flat handle yet, that sort of thing, the collector. Same thing with this. They just don't have this one, the one that looks like this, and this looks cool to them. There's people that collect these things, no doubt. It looks like there's people that collect them. I don't know for sure. But anyways, that's the buy for this Tuesday. I'm heading out to another place. I mentioned that I got a bunch of movie promo t-shirts. I think I mentioned it in a video. I found it's up to 60 t-shirts. I got a buddy coming over tomorrow who might be looking at those. But I'm also going to head out to the place that I found them and see if there's any more. Okay, and since I have my camera out, which is a little bit of a hassle, I got to take the case off my phone and pop in the mic and all that. I figured since I have it out, and then I was walking past and realized I have this here on the counter. I thought I did find this just before my back went out on me, so this is like 4 days ago, maybe 5 days ago. And I looked it up in the thrift. I paid $10 for it because they had a price on it. And I looked it up. The nearest, or I shouldn't say the nearest, the same model is listed on eBay right now for upwards of $300. I think it was like $346 or something like that. And the one on eBay, I can't remember if it said it works. It probably said it works for that much money. It also had a wooden case that this would have come in or could have come in. This one does not have a wooden case, but it does have the things that you need to operate it. I did plug it in and test it, and it does work. Turned the light on. The light works. Pretty cool. Has a cool look to it for the people that are into this kind of thing. This has, all the bells and whistles of the time. So someone's going to like that everything is here, that it's pretty much complete. I don't think that someone's going to mind that it doesn't have the wood case. I think they'll just be happy that it's working. I have it here because I tested it with that outlet, and then I was going to throw this thing up behind here just to kind of try to block things off so that I can take a decent picture of it for eBay. I don't know what I'm going to list it for. I usually list it for under what is already listed on eBay. Sometimes people shoot for the moon. Sometimes I shoot for the moon even. But I'll probably put it for around $200 because it's a little bit heavy, and I like to do shipping. I like to charge the customer the shipping. I do it on almost everything. Sometimes I do free shipping on very expensive things that are lightweight and it's not going to cost me much to ship it. But most of the time I charge the customer shipping. And so for someone for that, as heavy as it is, it's probably going to be around $50, maybe even $75 to ship it. But I paid $10 for it. So if I can get, for the amount of time it's going to take me to box up and, the amount of time it's taken me to take a couple pictures and stuff, if I can get $100 out of it, if I can make $100 out of it, that seems pretty worth it because I don't think I've even spent an hour processing it. So even when I went to the thrift, it was, it was basically the day my back went out, and I was in there for like a half an hour, and I started feeling my back started feeling a little yucky. This thing's pretty heavy, so it could have had something to do with it. Maybe I lifted it wrong or something like that. But yeah, anyways, it was, I spent very little time to acquire it, and it has taken me very little time to process it and, take pictures and list it and that sort of thing. And if I can make $100 off of something that I spent less than an hour messing with, that's ideal. So this is Wednesday. I got a buddy coming over to do a buy. Hopefully he wants to buy every single thing that I have. But I have stuff cleaned up a little bit. Just kind of waiting for him. That thing's stacked up. Right now, just because of the weather, looking for t-shirts and shorts. That's a bunch of t-shirts and shorts. These are the movie t-shirts or movie promo shirts that I found. There's a bunch there. Got a little bit of a stack here of things that aren't t-shirts. But anyways, yeah, just gonna pop in real quick, get this, and then I'll get you back on the other side after I see what happens. Hey guys, what's up? Just had a buddy stop by, and the sale went really well. And not even for the sale itself, but we had a great conversation. It was really awesome. And the sell stuff, but it's even better when, I don't know, somehow there's some sort of fun not even fun. I don't even know the right way to put it. It just was a great conversation. And I sold a bunch of stuff. I think I sold in between 30 and 40 pieces. I don't remember exactly what the number was. But before he stopped by, this was 4 stacks. And now I'd say it's like 2.5. This he even bought some of the movie promo t-shirts. Again, I don't remember how many, but that stack was bigger than it is. I still got a bunch of the other ones. Those ones I had to keep because they're actually, I don't know, worth more money or worth putting a little more time into. There's some of the movie promo t-shirts. This was a fun one that I just found. I went back to the spot and found this one just the other day. It's for the movie Rhinestone with Sylvester Stallone and Dolly Parton. I think I have it listed for $45. And that one's the pickup. Okay, Thursday. I am thinking that this will be the easier way for me to make videos, just to, record it while it happens or right after it happens. Basically a chunk at a time, I guess. I don't know what you want to call it. But anyways, went out to Goodwill bins this morning, stayed for about, 40 minutes. Got bored, found a couple things, a couple books for the kids. What else? Just a couple kind of random things. There's kind of a mix of stuff in here, but this was the bag. The thing that paid for everything probably is these Oakleys. I think they sell for like $30. I got a Patagonia hat. I think that sells for like 15. I got some of these like cube things that look like they're pretty decent. I got a couple of them. I'll probably lot up like $10 or whatever. So I spent about $10. There's just a couple more things, like little things, toys for the kids and like little figures to sell. And that was Goodwill bins. I also got this Bible that seems really old. I got to kind of look into, kind of do a little more research, but it seems really old. That might be like $20-$30, or it might be a mystery that pays for everything. I paid $10 at Goodwill. Then I was driving home, and it's Thursday, so there's this kind of the start of yard sales around. And I bounced around to a couple different yard sales. It was kind of interesting. I went to one and bought this because the lady kind of was, bumming a little bit, and I thought I'll buy something from her. It was only $1. Had a fun conversation with her though, and that was cool. And then I went to that kind of led me down a certain road that led me to another garage sale, and I bought this Massimo hoodie for 50 cents. I think maybe I can get $10 out of it, being like vintage Y2K or something. And then at that same sale, this gal had $5 on double knee jeans. They're Key, so they're not the most popular double knee jeans, but the crazy thing was really that they were new. One's, I'll probably put $20 on that pair. And so I'll make like, $10-$15 off of it. And then I'll probably put 30, maybe even 40 on these new ones. I didn't know the value of them. I just thought $5 is a good deal, and 15 for all of them. I'm gonna at least double my money. So then I was driving back home, basically. Kind of had to do some winding down some roads. Ended up seeing what I thought was an estate sale sign, so I took a turn. By this point, I'm about an hour and a half into my day, having left Goodwill and, thinking, I made a little bit of money or whatever. And, I got this at Goodwill too for Lucas. We haven't seen that one in a while. It's the Ezra lightsaber. He's going to be excited about that. And then it led me to a couple other garage sales, which Tula collects all these little Doorables things. So there might be some Doorables in there that she doesn't have. And a little boy was selling these for ridiculously cheap. So I gave him a little bit extra money for him. He was super excited. A couple of kids' books for the kids. couple figures that'll make between $5 and $10 each. But the highlight was I went down these old farm roads and I was looking for that estate sale, and I basically was just on like a scenic drive, just like having a good time looking at all the farmhouses and farm animals and stuff, and kind of driving down some roads that I have never gone down before, really. And that wrapped me around to a multifamily garage sale, which that's where these toys right here were from, the multifamily garage sale. And then that was like the first family that I went to was those toys. But then down the road a little ways was someone selling all these comics, which I think is probably the best score of the morning. So yeah, I'm about an hour and a half in, sourcing. So I got an hour and a half, and I probably make, I'd guess on the random stuff there, I make about between $50 and $75 profit on that first random stuff, which isn't bad for an hour and a half. But then this included in it is pretty decent. The guy was selling them 5 for $1. And I thought, I don't want to go through these. I don't know enough about comics to go through these and pick out, 5 that are worth whatever. But I thought, man, 5 for $1 is cheap. He must not, be looking to get too much money out of them. So I asked him how much he wanted for the whole box. And he thought for like 2 seconds, and he goes, there's probably 100 in there, so maybe more. And he said, how about $20? And I immediately said, well, okay, I'll take them all. And then I started like looking through them or whatever, and I thought, $20 is too cheap for this, so I gave him 40. I said, I think you're light on it here. I'd like to give you 40 for them. Not knowing anything about comics, I don't know any value of any of these. I just thought there's 100 or so, is what he said. So my thinking was, even if I only get $2 for each of them, and there's 100 of them, I make $200. $40 is not a bad investment. Well, it turns out there's more than 100 in there. I think he probably knew that. I'm not totally sure, but it doesn't matter because he went in and got more comics. He goes, when I handed him 40 instead of 20, like he said, he goes, well, let me sweeten the deal for you. And so he went in the house and he grabbed a whole bunch more. And I think it's about this much that he put in there out of all what was there. And I just counted, when I got home, I counted through them, and there's over 200 in here, which like, my first initial thought was 100, even if I only get $2 a comic, that's $200. But there's over 200 in here. I went through and counted them. And so if I get $2 each, yeah, it's going to take a little while to sell through, and maybe my average is $2 or $3. I mean, ideally it's 5. I've been looking through a few of them, and so far, just the several that I've looked through, the average is $5 per comic. So even if I knock it down to like conservatively say $3 per comic at 200 comics, and there's 200 plus, but if we just use easy math, 200 comics at $3 each is $600. So that's pretty wild. I think all in on everything in the trunk today, I think I'm at something like $65, $67, something like that. And this kind of makes it seem like it's a hour and a half with some potential crazy profit. So that's pretty cool. Plus, these things are just fun to go through. The artwork is incredible on these guys. I'll just show you a couple of them. Just this first handful I went through. And like I said, the average on the first handful I went through is $3. But I'm going to go through them all because it's fun to see all the artwork. And it also is that thing where like, oh, maybe one's in here that just happens to be a crazy one that, somehow is worth. I mean, that's the thing with comics. Like, I mean, especially for people that don't know anything about them, it just seems like you might run across one that's like, whoa, this is insane. Just this one comic. I'll show you some of the titles. Catwoman and it'll more than anything, I think what'll happen here is I start to learn more about comics, which cannot be a bad thing. You know, yeah, I'm gonna spend a little bit of time learning, you know, going through these, taking pictures and comparing how much they're worth, or finding out how much they're worth or whatever. But all in all, this is just a super beneficial buy, which is what I was thinking. Um, you know, in wanting to buy all of them. I've never bought a big box of comics like this. If I've ever had a comic, I've found one comic at two comics, you know, five at the most, and that's easy to look up five comics in one like quick Google search and know that you have no value there. That seems to be what I would always have happen in anytime I find comics. But there's more mystery. There's more fun in just a box. There's more fun in a box. So anyways, that's probably going to be the end of this week's videos. I think doing videos this way, it will make it easier for me to record everything that I want to record, to be able to catalog everything, which is what I'm trying to do here. And I think it'll be easier to put them out faster instead of having, 2 weeks go by where I don't have one. Because I'm noticing each time I find something, just, from doing it just this week, I've already got a decent amount of stuff to put in a video. Whereas before, just waiting for hauls, you don't always find a full cart of stuff, nor do I always want to stay in the thrift and hunt for it, wait for it to fall in front of me. So it's fun to get out of there, maybe hit a garage sale, find a couple things, and then be able to tell you guys about them. Remind myself about them when I watch these videos in the future. That's the main thing that I do with these, is like, catalog it and be able to look back on it and remember how fortunate I am, really, that I get to do this. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is the end. I did not say like or subscribe in any of the other parts, so I'll say it in this one. Like and or subscribe and the other stuff, whatever it is, the other stuff is these days that people are saying. I really have no idea, but I enjoy making these. I keep saying it and I can't say it enough. Thanks for watching. Take care.